Malcolm and Ijoma Onyaso tonight. Police confirmed the killing of 2 persons in Agbo community near Makudi, the Benue State capital, by suspected herdsmen. Senate frowns on the state of insecurity in the country, asked the president to stop the carnage across the country. Leadership of the Senate suspends one of its own, Senator Omar Agege, for 90 legislative days over remarks on the 2010 Electoral Act amendments. And French President Emmanuel Macron says he has proof of chemical weapons used on Syrian city by President Bashar al-Assad.
On business news tonight, Central Bank of Nigeria unveils agribusiness investment scheme to encourage youth participation in farming. On sports news, Team Nigeria wrestlers claim 3 medals in Day 8 of the ongoing Commonwealth Games in Gold Coast, Australia, to take the country's medals haul to 11.
And from Abuja, Amnesty International raises concerns over increase of inmates on death row in Nigeria.
We begin tonight in Benue State, where the police have confirmed the killings of 2 persons in an attack on Agbo community in Makudi, the state capital, today. The attack, said to have been carried out by suspected herdsmen, comes just days after the withdrawal of troops.
Agbo community, a suburb of Makudi, the Benue State capital, is still reeling from a deadly attack by suspected herdsmen.
All I can say is that it's the will of God.
The family members of one of the victims silently grieve. Some of the residents gather their belongings, ready to flee for their life. The 2 victims, both men, are said to have been working at this local well in a bid to provide water for members of their community. Their personal effects at the scene are the sad reminders.
They came here. Some of them come through this forest here, so they came and struck them here.
The Commissioner of Police, Fatai Owusheni, swings into action, leading a response team into the area to forestall any further attacks. As he is briefed by the locals on the details, an eyewitness gives an account of how the armed herdsmen struck.
There is a way in which a woman used to go and fish. This way is right where those cows were approaching. When our women sighted them, they picked race. So while they were pushing them, a man was in the way. A man was digging way not far from that place. This man never knew. Before he could knew and come out of that way, they arrested him and killed him.
Back at the State Command, Mr. Owusheni officially confirms the Makudi attack.
As of the time the patrol vehicle got there, we also got information from them that they came under attack of some people suspected to be herdsmen who, as they were firing, they were running towards a camp at the outskirts of Makudi. And of course, you saw me just coming in. I have been there personally to see, to do an on-the-spot assessment of what happened there.
Previously known to target remote areas, the latest attack, so close to the state capital, may be an indication of how daring the invaders are becoming. And this is happening right on the heels of an earlier attack on Akanya and Nenchi communities in Ukum local government area, close to the Benue-Taraba border.
And still on security, some gunmen suspected to be armed bandits have attacked a police checkpoint in Gwari local government area of Kaduna State, killing 2 policemen and abducting about 18 people. The fresh attack comes barely 2 weeks after 11 soldiers were killed at their base by armed bandits in the same local government area. Among the abducted persons in the latest attack were the Gwari chairman of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, Audu Kano, and 7 of his members. Meanwhile, in Zamfara State, at least 22 persons have been killed in Kurukuru and Yarkuka villages of Anka local government area. Residents told Channels Television that the attackers opened fire on illegal miners barely 3 weeks after a similar attack in Baundaji. The State Commissioner of Information, Sanda Danjari, gives us an insight into the attack.
There are 3 villages. One we call it El Pusa, where 14 people were killed. Then the other one is Kulu Kulu. 4 people were killed. Then we have Sakoi is another village where 6 people were. So this gives a total of 26 people that killed. And this matter has been taken to the security agents. They have been made aware. These people were buried today. They are bandits, armed bandits. You know, we have them in Zamfara. The village they call El Kuka. They met 4 people trying to do of God. So they asked them, who gave you the authority to mind the God? They kept quiet. So they killed 4 of them there. When people had the gun shooting, fear, people were trying to come to their rescue. So when people were there, they opened fire to the other people. This is what brought the number to 26 people. We reported this to security agents, and we were there with them when we brought these people. So it's up to the security agent now to do the next line of action. If the state government can't do anything than to report. Nothing we can do more than to report to the security agent.
Away from security matters, the Senate Committee's investigation into the face-off between the officers of the EFCC, NIA and DSS has discovered a deep rift among these security agencies. In a report by the ad hoc committee investigating the November 21st face-off between the security agencies, it states that there is acrimony as well as lack of cooperation and cohesion between the chief executive officers of the EFCC, the NIA and the DSS.
On Tuesday, November 21st, 2017, officials of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission visited the Asokoro residence of the former DSS boss, Itai Ekpenyong, to pick him up in connection with funds which the DSS allegedly collected from the office of the embattled former National Security Advisor, retired Colonel Sambo Dasuki, before the 2015 general elections. There was drama as EFCC officials attempted to arrest the former DSS boss and the former boss of the National Intelligence Agency, Ayodele Oke. The tirades between sister security agents was heavily criticized by lawmakers, and the Senate set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the matter.
There exists an acrimony between the...
Presenting the findings from the investigation, the chairman of the committee discloses that there is acrimony between the chief executive officers of the EFCC, the DSS, and the NIA.
This lack of cooperation and cohesion is reflected at a secondary level, with EFCC and NSA belonging to one group and NIA and DSS belong to another group. Accordingly, the principle of esprit de corps appears to be lost between these 2 groups.
The committee also makes some recommendations to the Senate.
The President and Commander-in-Chief should investigate the matter with a view to ensuring that the interagency rivalry or public exhibition of envy is avoided at all costs.
However, the lack of cooperation between the security agencies is a source of worry for lawmakers.
The problem of killings, the problem of kidnapping, the problem of terrorism can never be resolved, will never be resolved. We are deceiving ourselves. Except there is cohesion, there is cooperation, there is integration among these sister security agencies.
In a related development, another lawmaker, Senator Eyinaya Abarebe, is dissatisfied with President Buhari's handling of the security challenges in the country, specifically the farmers and herdsmen clashes.
Mr. President, yesterday in London, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria and the President of Nigeria said that these killings were as a result of the people who were trained by the late Muammar Gaddafi. When a Commander-in-Chief says that he cannot take care of invaders invading Nigeria, why is he still a Commander-in-Chief?
Since the beginning of 2018, the insecurity problems across the country has become a subject of discussion in the upper chamber, a pointer to the sensitivity of the matter.
The leadership of the Senate has announced the suspension of Senator Ovie Omoagege for 90 legislative days over remarks he made at the press conference on the amendment of the 2010 Electoral Act. Senator Omoagege and 9 other lawmakers had accused the National Assembly of deliberately targeting President Buhari in adopting the conference report on the amendment. Our correspondent Linda Akigbe reports.
People say aye, and those against say nay.
Again, the Senate wields the big stick. The hammer of the Senate has fallen on a second lawmaker in the 8th Assembly. The Senate has suspended Senator Ovie Omoagege over remarks he made at a news conference insinuating that the ongoing amendment of the 2010 Electoral Act, which sets a sequence for general elections, is targeted at President Muhammadu Buhari. A federal lawmaker, Senator Dino Melaye, on February 20, 2018, had brought to the attention of the Senate the comments made by Senator Ovie Omoagege and insisted that it breached his privilege as a lawmaker. The Senate consequently directed its Committee on Ethics to investigate the comments made by Senator Omoagege.
Senator Ovie Omoagege for allegedly insinuating to a press conference.
The Committee on Ethics has concluded its investigation and the committee chairman presents the report.
After carefully examining the documents before the committee and hearing of the complainant and respondent, the committee observed as follows. 1. That after Senator Ovie Omoagege had admitted guilt on the floor of the Senate on Wednesday, 21st February 2018, by apologizing to the leadership and the entire Senate, the committee was surprised that he changed his mind and took the Senate President and the Senate to court. The committee recommends as follows. 1. That the Senator Ovie Omoagege be suspended for 181 legislative days from the date this resolution is taken to serve as a deterrent to other senators who might contemplate taking the Senate to court over its power to regulate or determine its internal matters.
Some lawmakers plead for leniency.
Finally, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I want to appeal. Let's bury the hatchet. Let's stand down this.
It's time for the Senate President to make a decision on the matter.
This is what, if we will agree in the recommendation, we will say recommendation 1 is that the senator involved, Senator Omoagege, should withdraw the case. The support group should be disbanded. Number 3 is that out of that compassion, we change the recommendation, amend the recommendation of the committee to 90 days.
However, in a quick reaction to his suspension, Senator Omoagege, in a press statement, says he will not comment on the matter because it is in court and will amount to sub judice. On the disbandment of the parliamentary support group for President Buhari, he says the decision to disband the group should be a matter for the over 50 members of the group and possibly with President Buhari to decide. Linda Akigbe, Channels Television News.
In part 2, after the break, youths in Kwara State protest offer deadly bank robbery as government to improve security. Do join us again.